federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for this.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
They want.
I don't know.
Let's hold that money.
Hold
Thank you.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Uhuru comrades. My name is Mwezi Odom. I'm a member of the African People's Socialist Party and chair of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa, Fightback Coalition, the counteroffensive, leading the anti-colonial free speech struggle. And comrades, we will be victorious in this period. I want to salute everybody who has joined us on today. I'm going to pull up a slideshow and also bring up my comrades who are on the ground in St. Louis, Missouri, ground zero of the attacks on July 29th, 2022, when the FBI launched its attack on the African People's Socialist Party, the Black Liberation Movement. Today's event is going to give everybody an opportunity to, again, talk about why we say that the Uhuru 3 case is centered on the future of free speech, and why we are calling everybody to come to Atlanta for the oral arguments for the Uhuru 3 appeal, to appeal the bogus conviction on the Uhuru 3 following the trial. So we're going to talk more about that, but right now I want to invite everybody to share right now. If you are watching on our streaming platforms or here on Zoom, invite your friends, your comrades, family to go to handsoffuhuru.org/register, or share the YouTube link, share the Facebook link widely. Today, we're going to be encouraging everybody to, those of you who can make it, pack the court for the Uhuru 3. We're going to be talking about the calendar of events that will be taking place on the ground in Atlanta where the Uhuru 3 will be in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals to, fight back against this wrongful conviction. So we're encouraging everybody, if you have not already, and salute to those of you who already have gone to handsoffuhuru.org/take-action. Take action so you can learn about how you can be with your comrades on the ground and also participate in other events that are taking place in Atlanta. I want to take a moment to salute my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, leader of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, and the global anti-colonial African revolution. Chairman Omali Yeshitela was the main target of these attacks on July 29th and has led a powerful campaign and powerful fight back in defense, not just of the Uhuru 3 and the African People's Socialist Party, but the whole anti-colonial struggle. And that is what the African People's Socialist Party is founded on, to complete the revolution of the 1960s, the Black Revolution of the 1960s, which we understand was militarily crushed. Another reason why we were also attacked is very clear, because we build real economic and political power in the hands of the African working class. So I want to salute Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela of the African People's Socialist Party, President of the African People's Education and Defense Fund and Black Star Industries, and architect of the Black Power Blueprint, located in North St. Louis, where you can see real economic development in the hands of the African working class. I want to salute the Central Committee of the African People's Socialist Party. These comrades are, leading various very important work throughout the African nation, wherever we are located. And so I just want to salute the mass organizations and the work that is happening globally, not just here in the United States, but again, on the ground in our continent of Africa as well. And I want to salute the steering committee of Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa. These comrades have been, at the forefront of helping to push forward this work, extending our reach, not just here within the United States, but across all colonial borders. So I want to salute this steering committee as well. Those of you who are just joining us or just, now learning about the Uhuru 3, we want to remind everybody that on July 29th, 2022, the FBI launched an assault on the African nation in 2 cities, in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis, Missouri. Pre-dawn raids where 7 homes and offices of the Uhuru movement were raided in these military-style attacks that you saw in that video earlier. And again, it's useful to, remind everybody that these raids came, 9 months after the African People's Socialist Party, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, called out the truth behind the U.S. aggression towards Russia, using Ukraine as cannon fodder, resulting in deaths and, deaths and billions of dollars spent, in its carnage. Here are, there's a lot of images, and even what you saw on the video was, after the raids. But again, this was pre-dawn, so it was dark. There was laser sights on the chairman's chest as he exited the home. A drone, as you heard, that almost, hit Comrade Deputy Chair in the head. Comrades were held at gunpoint, handcuffed, and battering rams and flashbang grenades. So there was over $40,000 of damage that has not been returned, that took place on this day as well. So we are, we're taking this back, but we want to show you all, what happened in there. And there's an image of the Burning Spear newspaper that put this out there to the world. 4 members of our movement were named as unindicted co-conspirators in this bogus, indictment that was put out. And, later on, the, FBI and the, DOJ determined that they were going to, center their targets on the Uhuru 3, and that was Chairman Omali Yeshitela and our comrades Penny Hess and Jesse Nevel. Penny Hess and Jesse Nevel are members of the Solidarity Front of the Uhuru movement. Penny Hess is the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and Comrade Chair Jesse Nevel is the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And I just want to, on the unindicted the 4 unindicted co-conspirators, I skipped this, but I want to go back and just recognize Director Akile Anayi, who was the director of media and communications, who was also a victim of these raids, but leads the propaganda front, the media and communications of the Uhuru movement, putting out the theory of African internationalism to the world. And so this was an important, this was a significant attack to also try to wipe out our ability to communicate our theory and our message. The Uhuru 3 Thank you, comrade. The Hands Off Uhuru campaign launched in September, just shortly after the raids. We put this out there. But this was our first event that we had to the world to expose this attack on the African Liberation Front. And we worked tirelessly, and we want to salute all of those who played such a significant role in assembling our legal team. I want to salute Comrade Chimarenga Selimbao, the National Director of Organization for the African People's Socialist Party, Lauren Reagan of the Civil Liberties Defense Center, as well as the comrades from the National Lawyers Guild, who later on even took it further and submitted amicus briefs in response to these attacks. And we were, so grateful for the brilliant legal team that transpired out of all of these great efforts. I want to salute our brilliant lawyers, one of them who is on the ground right now in St. Louis with the comrades. I want to salute Comrade Addie Griffin, attorneys Addie Griffin, Mutaki Akbar, Leonard Goodman, Angela Reaney, and Tom Inskeep. And real big salute to comrades and attorneys Leonard Goodman and Angela Reaney, who are taking this case on pro bono. And Angela Reaney, who you're going to hear from later. So Uhuru comrades. We're not going to go through this in detail, but if you go to our website and you look under the About tab, you'll see the list of attacks that took place prior to the raids on July 2nd. Back in September, they also, the removal of 130,000 signatures on the Africans Charged Genocide campaign and petition that was put out around the world. Members of our movement who were arrested. And again, the threat of pending indictments for anyone throughout the movement. Our organization was in the process of purchasing a building to, put forward more of the economic work and programs for the African community in North St. Louis. And days, after we had, got the contract to get this really, beautiful church building, it was mysteriously burnt down. This was in January of 2023. And the attacks on from the Pinellas County in St. Petersburg, Florida, who revoked a grant to Black Power 96 Radio, which is which is a radio station and a radio station of the African People's Education and of the African People's Education and Defense Fund, which is located in St. Louis, which was also, centered to the raids. And so this is also an ongoing struggle, and we encourage you to continue to follow the fight back for Black Power 96, which is still ongoing. Many struggles that we continue to wage back, struggles against Regions Bank and other economic attacks on the party, closing of bank accounts, GoFundMe, and all these other institutions that, pulled out, taking away funds. Again, like I mentioned, from the radio station, we mobilized massive emergency response in response to this economic warfare and sanctions being imposed on the African community. The DOJ, again, it took them 9 months to indict the Uhuru Three with the bogus charges. And from that moment, we're going to talk about the charges on the next slide. But immediately, after this, basically from the beginning, the chairman was very clear. Comrades, we are not retreating, we are building. And it was clear that these charges on the Uhuru Three were completely bogus. The charge of the Uhuru Three operating as foreign agents or failure to register as of agents of a foreign government, in this case, Russia. And also, and that carried a 10-year maximum prison sentence, as well as a conspiracy charge, which was saying that the Uhuru Three was, committing an offense against or to defraud the U.S. government. And that carried a 5-year maximum sentence. So we understood this 15-year, prison sentence was a death sentence for our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, who was 81 at the time of these raids. And so we understood the very, serious nature of these charges and the attempt to crush our movement and put our leadership, to make them political prisoners. We understand that, again, this was all part of this long time, Russian plot to sow discord. And I want to remind everybody that these raids happened under the Biden administration, right? Who has put out this whole Russiagate, thing for decades. And so this is a really, important thing to also, recognize that, this was, again, as we have said, based on these insulting and slanderous, racist premise that African people in the U.S. need Russians or anyone else to tell them that they are oppressed and that we have and to then tell us how that we have a right to, struggle for our own freedom. So, we're very clear from the beginning, and, we don't need the attacks to, even tell us that the US government is guilty. Chairman Omali Yeshitela was very clear on that and said that the Uhuru Three are not guilty of these bogus charges. And again, it was the colonial state who are the real criminals, the FBI with its bloody track record of harassing, surveilling, stalking, infiltrating, imprisoning, and torturing and assassinating African and indigenous freedom fighters throughout the world. The Uhuru Three were then arraigned later on in May of that year. And we, the comrades had their passports revoked. They were put on probation and, a lot of other restrictions in terms of their ability to travel. We still put out the work. We still toured all around, wherever we could. But we took out the campaign fiercely to drop the charges against Chairman Omali Yeshitela, put the state on trial, drop the charges against the Uhuru Three. And, part of this process was to win support from across the political spectrum so that those of, and many who recognize this in the very beginning, it's not just an attack on the African People's Socialist Party, but an attack on the African liberation struggle, but an attack on free speech. So we made in July of 2023, the bold move to build the anti-colonial free speech movement. And this is what birthed the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition. The Fightback Coalition is an anti-colonial free speech movement of which you can be involved in. You can go to handsoffuhuru.org/coalition. This coalition was, developed to defend the Uhuru Three and all political attacks on the people. Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition is a non-sectarian, anti-colonial free speech coalition to make the demand to drop the charges against the Uhuru Three and to defend the right to freedom of speech. And, we mobilized, masses of people to get us out to the White House, to march on the White House, and also to Tampa for the Uhuru Three trial. And in this process, we united all struggles against colonialism, taking up the struggle for Comrade Leonard Peltier. Not one more year, we said, free Leonard Peltier, build the anti-colonial free speech movement. That comrade is still not free, but is no longer in the grips of the, vicious colonial prison where he was imprisoned for decades. And we took up the, struggles of every political attack, as the chairman said, that the attack on the Uhuru Three was the canary in the coal mine, and that we would begin to see, political, repression against political speech and, dissent. So on the next slide here, you'll see just some of the campaigns that we took up over this process here. And there's many more that we could not fit on this slide, but we want to salute all the struggles that you see here, and many more that are continuing to come under attack, in this period. Following, and also in July of that year, the Uhuru Three attorneys filed a motion to dismiss, this indictment based on the violation of the, First Amendment. It was very clear that this indictment itself is an attack, is an assault on the First Amendment, and This was something that Attorney Leonard Goodman, said right off the bat. And so this is, really at the heart of the question of, free speech. And forwarding on, all the other struggles that we are seeing, we really want to salute the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. These comrades, we worked with them to co-sponsor and won participation from the BIB for their mobilization, their annual mobilization on the White House in November of 2023. Those of you who were there, it was a powerful, powerful mobilization. Here's just a picture of us marching right up towards the White House. You see the, red, black, and green flag flying, free Palestine, free Leonard Peltier, victory to all colonized and oppressed peoples. That was the message. And this march took place in 7 locations: Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, California, London, Pretoria, South Africa, Sierra Leone, Namibia, and Liberia. And then later on, following in the next year, in January 2024, the federal magistrate judge rejected our motion to dismiss and set the trial date for September 3rd, 2024. And so we had always prepared that we would go to trial. And so we were ready. And so, the months leading up towards the trial, we mobilized everybody for a anti-colonial free speech rally that took place on August 31st, the weekend before the Uhuru Three trial. And here's just an image of the rally outside of the St. Petersburg Uhuru House, not St. Petersburg, Russia, St. Petersburg, Florida, Uhuru House. And here is just some images of some of the comrades. There's, if you've seen our other presentations, you've seen some of the, really powerful images of all the speakers and everybody that came out. Here's some images of our comrades from Unión del Barrio who came along with others to deliver a statement. We want to salute those comrades there. And as well as the rally that we had later on. We want to salute comrades from D12 organization. And here's just an image of everybody inside the Uhuru House for this really powerful rally where Chairman Omali Yeshitela summed up the significance of the Uhuru 3 case, as it related to everybody, who was a part of this struggle. We packed the courthouse. That was the goal, was to pack the courtroom, show that this is not happening behind closed doors, that this is a struggle that the people are watching. And we did that. And I want to salute Comrade Hallie and Comrade Ruby, who were our sketch artists for the Uhuru 3 trial, part of the Burning Spear Media Army. And this is one of the images of, because we couldn't bring cameras into the courtroom. And so we want to salute those comrades and everybody who packed the courtroom, packed the courthouse, and packed the overflow room on September 3rd, 2024, for what we call the free speech trial of the century, which took place in federal court in Tampa, Florida. And on September 3rd, again, this trial took place. And this is some images of the comrades outside of the courthouse in St. Petersburg, Florida. Comrades who flew from all around the country. We want to salute everybody who came out for that. And it was determined after this, trial that the Uhuru 3 were found not guilty of, working for the Russian. And indeed, we worked for Black people. So we were found not guilty on the maximum prison, the maximum 15-year or 10-year charge of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, but were wrongfully convicted on the conspiracy charge. And, you'll be hearing from Attorney Reaney and Comrade Jesse, who will be talking about the legal case. But, it was very clear that the prosecution, there was misconduct in their closing arguments that confused the jury in giving this inconsistent verdict. And so we were very clear that we were, going to be, going to a sentencing to hear, the rest of the, determinations from the court. And thank you, Comrade. They just linked the court documents that you can also check out on our website, or if you're on Zoom right now, you can follow the court documents from this, historic trial and, whole case. On December 16, 2024 was the sentencing hearing for the Uhuru 3, where the judge, gave the determination that the Uhuru 3 would not spend one day in prison for this bogus conviction, and that they would not have any fines. And so we said, not one day, no fines. And, for the Uhuru 3, this was a victory for all oppressed and colonized peoples. This is some of the comrades who were there coming out of the courthouse right after the determination from the judge on the hearing. And, reminding of the judge who said, again, no one's going to prison, no one's going to be fined. And, really understood that even if they did, fine us, as the judge said, y'all would just go out and raise the money anyways. And so that's just a testament to, all of you and this, struggle that has been happening and all the support that we have gotten from you comrades throughout the way. We filed an appeal, obviously, on this bogus conviction in June of last year. And so that was, in the process, and that's what leads us up to today. But in the process, we didn't stop there. We extended the, struggle of African people, the struggle for, the anti-colonial struggle to free up Africa, liberate African people and all colonized peoples around the world into Latin America. And so we launched the Latin America front of Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa. We say, hasta la victoria siempre. I want to salute, these are just some of the comrades. The committee continues to grow, but I want to salute the comrades who have participated in the Latin America front, who are, bringing very, really important analysis and, work, coming from the various regions, from Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, Peru, Ecuador, and, and the African nation as well, and the Mexican Liberation Front. Later on this year, earlier this year, the Uhuru 3, I didn't mention this earlier, but were sentenced to 3 years of probation following the sentencing. And, within half of their probation was, overturned as the judge granted early termination earlier this year. And we heard later on in April, I believe, of this year, or late March, that the oral arguments would be, were approved and were set for July 2026. So that's what brings us here today, comrades, and we want to salute you for, all the support that you have given up to this point for the Uhuru 3, because without your support, this worldwide support and your donations, we would not have been able to wage this struggle in the way that that we have. We want to just announce some of the, accomplishments of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa counteroffensive. Over $600,000 have been raised from thousands of supporters from across the political spectrum, from $1 donations to $10,000 donations. All of this, was a huge contribution to this fight back, comrades. So salute to you all. And again, also want to salute and, mention the pro bono contributions from Attorney Goodman and Attorney Reaney, who have also contributed to this, really powerful donation. And I want to salute the African People's Socialist Party for the $5,000 donation that came out of the plenary to, to forward us towards the oral arguments for the Uhuru 3 legal defense. So this is a part of, of a struggle. As we say, the economic and political are one. These funds are important for us to be able to wage an important and serious fight back in the, on the legal front. And so we want to salute all the contributions that have come in. And the, interviewers, those of you who have come to our events, who have come to rallies, press conferences, who have held interviews, over 200, and I think there's even more than that, webinars, events, rallies, press conferences, and interviews for the Uhuru 3. Here are some of the, media that has covered us over a while. This is an outdated slide, but needs to be updated at some point on the next slide. But, international media coverage and support has, covered this case. And we just want to salute many of the comrades who have been on the forefront of this struggle, for the Uhuru 3. This is an important, this is an important aspect of the fight that we want to, recognize that every comrade who has been a part of this, recognizes that, this attack on the Uhuru 3 was an attack on their right to freedom of speech. So we want to thank the comrades in this picture, but so many others. And I want to just also salute and, recognize Comrade Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., who is also, he was on the other slide, but just to, acknowledge the comrade who has also been under attack as well. And, if you have a chance to, Google and see, some of the, current attacks that are taking place, but the comrade was taken into custody, and there's a scheduled court hearing, and, supporters are, calling for, release and, for defense of the comrade. And there is a trial that is scheduled, I believe, on July 29th. I could have that wrong, but we want to encourage comrades to follow that case and support, especially if you are on the ground there in Chicago or in the Midwest region. And we also want to salute, so we say hands off, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. And we also want to salute our comrades. We just want to give a special salute to our comrades from the Center for Political Innovation, Comrade Caleb Maupin, the founder of CPI, Comrade John McCarthy, and the comrades from CPI, even, those of us who are out here in Los Angeles and California, where I'm located, who have just been also on the forefront and really taken a very bold stance and helped to put out the Uhuru 3 case around the world, wherever they have been. So salute to CPI and salute to everybody who submitted the 1,600 letters that we sent to the judge leading up to the sentencing hearing to, write for justice and to, call for everybody to send a letter of recognition for Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Penny Hess, and Jesse Nevel, calling on the judge to, provide leniency in his sentencing. So those letters, made a difference, comrades, and we want to really salute everybody who took the time. Those of you who didn't even know the comrades, but who have seen the work of the Uhuru movement and made that bold move to, recognize that. I have Comrade Penny Hess, who's also on the ground there in St. Louis, and we have a couple slides. I don't know if, Comrade, you want to take some of these ones, or if you want me to just run through the next ones, but we're going to salute our comrades around the world who stand with the Uhuru Three and the anti-colonial free speech struggle.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right, you want me to go for it, Penny?
I'm sorry, I am mute. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Comrades around the world who stand, let me see could we see the next slide?
Yeah.
So it's really powerful to see that support has come from all of these places on this map that are in orange. And that is, just this fight back has been built under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela in such a powerful way. I don't know why my video is off. Uhuru, maybe it could be turned back on?
Because we're using this camera right here.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. Next slide, please. So we also say victory to the people of Iran. U.S. is backed Israel out of Iran and the Middle East. Next slide. Victory to the people of Palestine. Palestine, the Palestinian people are the true owners of the land, and we support the victory. We support the Palestinian people and their right to self-determination and national liberation. Victory to the people of Venezuela, U.S. out of Latin America. We also demand to free President Maduro and first combatant Celia Flores, who are being held completely against any kind of international law inside the United States right now in New York. And we demand that they would be immediately freed. Uhuru. Next slide. Again, free President Maduro and first combatant Celia Flores. And this is some of the comrades from the Uhuru movement in Kululeko, member of the African People's Socialist Party, out in New York at demonstrations demanding the release and freedom of President Maduro. Next slide. And we also, as always, support the freedom and liberation, self-determination of Puerto Rico, and recognize that the Puerto Rican independence movement. We salute the incredible Lolita Lebrón Presente, who was a great leader in her many, many years of leadership, and she spent many years in prison by the United States government. And we recognize that Puerto Rico is a colony of the United States. Next slide. We say hands off Cuba, venceremos, and we stand in unconditional solidarity with the right of the Cuban people to their freedom and independence. Next slide. And we salute the Mexican indigenous liberation movement here inside the US. We stand with the demand, and this is the comrades from Unión del Barrio, a fraternal sister organization of the African People's Socialist Party for about 40 years or more. And we see here Comrade Ron Gochez out in Los Angeles is taking this incredible, powerful stand against the colonial police called ICE and every other form of attack on the indigenous people as they struggle to regain the sovereignty of their own stolen land. Next slide. Salute to Unión del Barrio. A picture, I believe this was in Los Angeles at a rally a couple of years ago. Uhuru, next slide. Salute the resistance in Peru, Ecuador, and the growing Latin America front, and salute our comrades who are part of the Latin America front of the Hands Off Uhuru, very powerful front, and really recognizing how much the struggle of the indigenous people, the people of Peru, Ecuador, and other places is completely whited out in the media the colonial media here inside the stolen borders of the United States. Next slide. Victory to African people. And we recognize that, as Chairman Omali Yeshitela says, that African people are one people forcibly dispersed around the world. African people are Africans in the continent of Africa, are Africans here inside the United States and throughout the Americas, in Europe, every place that African people have been forced as part of the basis of this colonial mode of production that Chairman Omali Yeshitela has shown us, that everything that we have in the United States from the white community, the colonizers, rests on a pedestal of the oppression of African people all around the world. Uhuru. Next slide. We're really excited. It's an honor to be here in St. Louis, here as part of the Uhuru movement, because the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe is getting ready to open on August 15th, despite the fact that the city and other forces have done everything possible to try to prevent this. The leadership of Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela has fought fiercely to be able to open this brilliant, much needed cafe in this neighborhood of North St. Louis, where the city and the state have for many decades, if not longer, frozen and starved this community of any resources whatsoever. And this is the power of the African working class taking self-determination into their own hands and building these institutions, which are part of many more here in North St. Louis, including Shambhala Uhuru Farm, Freedom Farm, the Caribou Community Garden across the street. And we see 5 places, I think soon to be 5 places, where the red, black, and green flag are flying here on this strip in North Florissant Avenue in North St. Louis, Uhuru. Next slide, please. So early in 2027, we are excited to say, and we will have much more out about this. Right now, as soon as we do our appeal, our oral arguments, we went all out to Atlanta, and then we're going to, under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela, build the International Anti-Colonial Human Rights Organization to extend this struggle around the world. The fight for anti-colonial free speech must be guarded and does inform the right of all people to free speech. Next slide. So take action. Next slide. Or I don't know, are we finished? Or okay, all out to Atlanta. We're going to talk about this more, or are we talking about it now? I'm not sure.
No more. We're just take action, comrades. And, today we're going to be talking about, yes, all out to Atlanta. Uhuru.
Yeah. This more, we're going to have some great events there. We want to salute our comrades in Atlanta who have taken such leadership to help build this and create events and all kinds of actions for all the comrades that are going to come out to stand with the Uhuru 3, Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru 3 in Atlanta on July 21st and 22nd of this year. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru, thank you, Comrade Chairwoman Penny Hess. Want to salute you, Comrade, and you're, taking us through those remaining slides. So, comrades, we're going to go back to, so that concludes our overview, just kind of giving you a quick, overview of the history of this case and why it is so important and centered on the struggle for free speech. So we're going to come back on the ground now, or stay in St. Louis, actually, and we're going to be hearing a report from our comrades, Jesse Nevel, who is the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and also leads, along with Comrade Director Chimarenga, is leading the Hands Off Uhuru Legal Defense Support Committee. And also we're going to be hearing from attorney Angela Reaney, who is they're going to be talking about the oral arguments and giving a report on the Uhuru 3 appeal. So I'll let those comrades go ahead and get in place. And while they are getting in place, I want to encourage anybody who is, everybody who's watching, if you have not already, to go to handsoffuhuru.org/take action. And please take the time to, sign up, click that green button, let us know that you are coming to St. Louis, or coming to Atlanta. And we're going to be talking more about the, events that are going to be taking place on the ground there as well. So, and also want to salute our chat moderators who are, putting some really great information in the chat. And I want to salute Comrade Sister Lisa Davis, Vice Chair of the Black is Back Coalition, who's tuning in from Jersey, among many others who are here with us today. So I see the comrades are in place. I'm going to turn it to you, Chair Jesse, and Uhuru, Attorney Angela. Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Uhuru.
All right, thank you so much, Chair Mwezi and Chairwoman Penny, for the great overview and presentation. I'm really excited to be here with all of you who are tuning in, and Chairman Omali Yeshitela, our leadership, and Angela Reaney, our amazing attorney who's here with us in person. So we just want to give a round of applause to that.
Objecting Angela.
Yes, and the chairman is behind us here. I wanted to actually introduce Angela by reading the chairman's words.
Okay.
So you can find this description of this incredible attorney on reaneylaw.com, the newly launched website for Angela's recently established practice. So please check that out. So the chairman wrote, and the chairman speaks for all of us with this description, by the way. This is such a great description. He says, Angela Reaney was one of a group of 5 lawyers who defended Penny Hess, Jesse Nevel, and myself, known as the Uhuru 3. Ours has been a groundbreaking case that threatened the liberties of every resident of the U.S. The 3 of us had the benefit of a group defense by lawyers that included attorneys Reaney and Leonard Goodman, who were co-counsel for Penny Hess, Mutaki Akbar for Jesse Nevel, and Addie Griffin and Tom Inskeep, my co-counsels. The Uhuru 3 lawyers were a brilliant and courageous team that even the judge in our case had to recognize for their bold, thoughtful, and tenacious courtroom performance. Like all of our lawyers, Attorney Reaney was outstanding because of her passionate belief in free speech, assembly, and association, the constitutional issues that were really on trial and at stake in our case. Attorney Reaney was a relentless legal researcher for our case, bringing to the surface sometimes obscure case law. She was also a fearless courtroom presence that raised the critical questions that contributed to the victory in the foundational charge that exposed the political nature of the thought crime of conspiring to do something that never happened. I am proud of the work she has done on our case up to now and thrilled she is part of the team working on our appeal. So, yeah. And I also wanted to mention that, Angela, you were originally, and I'm going to ask you about this, originally brought onto the case by attorney Leonard Goodman, and then have since established your own practice and stayed on the case pro bono. And we want to give that a round of applause as well. That is such an important stance, and we really appreciate that. And finally, I just want to say, as an incoming law student myself, I consider Angela Reaney a great inspiration. So yes, I don't really remember the legal team before you joined it because it was such a pivotal moment when you did. I remember the day you joined. I remember getting the email from Leonard Goodman. He said that he's bringing on a great attorney named Angela Reaney. And that was a very pivotal day. You played such an important role in every aspect of this. I made a little list of just the things I could remember. The discovery, the 29 terabyte, whatever it was, massive discovery that the government unloaded on us. You waded through so much of that. I think the chairman once said, you probably know us better than we know ourselves. All the meetings that you listened to and things you went through, the motions that you worked on, your great arguing before the judge at trial, the victory of winning the acquittal on the foreign agent charge, you played a key role in that, co-authoring the appeal, and also winning early termination of the probation. You played an active role in all of that. So can you kind of bring us back to when you first got involved in this case? What did you think about it, and what made you want to be a part of it, and what has it been like to be a part of the Uhuru 3 legal team?
So you're way too generous, and I appreciate all of those kind words, and that's why I stay on this case pro bono. It's so kind to me. But when I got on the case, I had never heard of the African People's Socialist Party, but the issues in it were certainly important and something I strongly believed in. So as far as the First Amendment issues, was definitely one of the most interesting case I've worked on. But yeah, Linton did bring me on and hire me mainly to work on this case. And
Oh, it looks like we lost St. Louis. Is that the case, or did they just mute? Okay, let's see what's going on here. It looks like there's just some technical difficulties. I know there are other comrades logged in St. Louis, but I don't know if they're connected to audio or if they even know that they've dropped off. Hold on one second. Actually, if some of the comrades who are on Zoom, if you're on the ground in St. Louis, can you give me some indication that we're working to resolve whatever technical issues are happening? Okay. Well, let's give it maybe just a couple more seconds. I hear someone typing away. Yeah, I'm trying to see if Chairwoman Penny can unmute because I know her laptop is also connected. All right, let's see if we can make that work. And if not, I'm gonna just see if we might have to move to another part of the program, but I wanna just give it just a moment. Can our AV team contact the comrades on the ground in St. Louis? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. Thank you, comrades. All right, comrades, well, okay, great. Let's see here, her own device. Okay, yeah. I think her volume might be down, so she may have to also turn up her volume. But let's just give it a couple more minute or two. But while that is happening, earlier in the chat, and also again, if you go to handsoffuhuru.org, you can read, information about, the court documents, the, appeal brief that was filed by Comrade Angela Reaney and Attorney Leonard Goodman. And it's a really powerful brief. We encourage everybody to go and take a look. Many of you who are law students or interested. Are you back now?
How long were we off?
Maybe about a minute.
5 minutes.
So, Attorney Angela was just talking about how the case was, really important and one of the most interesting cases.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Can we reclaim our time?
Of course. Yes, you may.
All right.
Uhuru.
All right, welcome back. I was over here with Attorney Angela Reaney. So I think where our audience left off was you talking about how important this case was with the First Amendment. We talked about the team, if you want to say anything about that. And then, the appeal coming up, what this appeal represents, what it means, what its significance, what its potential implications are when we win.
Yeah, so I think there's two really important issues in here. As far as we're raising an issue about the First Amendment, and we're arguing that the conviction was assault on the First Amendment and, violated the Uhuru 3's First Amendment rights to free speech. In that this is obviously speech that the Uhuru 3 have been involved in for decades. This is obviously not some speech in cases where a person is hired by a foreign government to push a certain narrative. This is genuine free speech, and we're arguing that this conviction violated the First Amendment. And also another important issue we're raising is that would, if we were successful, limit the reach of the 951, which is similar to the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And in that case, the crime here was failing to register as a foreign agent, and not even that. You were acquitted of that crime. This was conspiring to fail to register as a foreign agent, which is a bizarre concept. But the issue would be that, we had an FBI agent testify that there was no evidence that anyone knew they were supposed to register. So we're arguing that this statute and the conspiracy law clearly requires that the government show that you knew you were supposed to go register, and you talked about it and decided it was not a good idea to go register. So that's our second argument. So these are huge. If we were successful on either of these, it would really limit the government's ability to use these foreign agent laws in this manner to restrict free speech. It would have huge implications for numerous activist groups and really reach across the country. Right.
Thank you for that explanation. And do you think that's part of why, or maybe I should rephrase this. From your perspective, why do you think the 11th Circuit granted oral arguments? Because looking into it, they usually don't. This case is like one of the very few. They have one of the lowest rates in the country, that court, of granting oral arguments.
Yeah. So in the 11th Circuit, the appellate court doesn't have to hear. They don't have to hear from the attorneys in person in oral argument. They could look at our briefs and decide the issue and resolve it that way. But they obviously see a real issue in this case and are interested in hearing more from the attorneys. So I think that is that's a good sign for us that they've considered that. And there's huge issues. I think they see the First Amendment issue involved here is huge. I also think the knowledge issue, I think both of those probably caught their attention, and they want to hear more from the attorneys on that issue.
Great. Thanks, Angela. And I think that, like we've always said, the first precedent that was set with this case is the precedent that, as the chairman always says, like when you fight, you can win. And the government has been pushed back every step of the way. Nothing has gone the way it was supposed to go. Every aspect of this case so far is like, statistically, that's highly unlikely that would happen the way it usually goes, in terms of the federal government's conviction rate, in terms of the likelihood of actually being sentenced to prison if you're convicted at trial of a federal felony, then getting the no prison, no fine, getting the probation terminated 2 years early, and then having the oral arguments granted. It's just a testament to, the chairman's leadership, the people, the fight back, like the whole Hands Off Uhuru, and the brilliance of you all, our attorneys, that like carried this fight into the courts in such a powerful way. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're all excited to be there in Atlanta. And what's actually going to be happening that day, July 22nd? Well,
and first I'll go back on what you said there.
Yeah.
We would not be in this position if the Uhuru Three were not brave enough to go forward with this. We very easily could have pled guilty, which most federal defendants do whenever they see the prospect of facing 15 years in prison. So we would not be in that position at all. So it really started with that, being able to launch these attacks. So I would start there. Now, what we will do on appeal is it's very different than trial. You're not going to see evidence involved. We're going to, Attorney Goodman is going to present the arguments that we've made. He will go up and argue before the court and make the arguments that I've been talking about and a few more. So he's going to argue the First Amendment issues. That we'll get to hear from the government. The judges will be able to ask questions. So that's what we're going to be doing there. It is a big deal. It will, like I said, have potential to set some amazing precedent. And, after that, we're going to sit around and wait for the court's opinion and see how that goes.
So that won't be the day of.
That will not be, there will not be any opinion the day of. I would expect there to be several months before. There's no deadlines, but I would expect several months to pass before we get an opinion.
Several months. Okay. And we're kind of wrapping up here. I don't have this in my questions, but I did want to bring this up. When we had Attorney Leonard Goodman on, we talked a little bit about this, that if you do sort of like a split screen of the Uhuru Three, the Uhuru movement, the chairman, our legal team, and all the victories that have been won up to this point, and on the other side show the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Middle District of Florida that carried out the prosecution against us, it's quite a stark contrast. Like you have like the winning side, and then you have the team that prosecuted us, Daniel Marcet, gone. The guy Roger Hanberg, who was the main U.S. attorney, I guess, for that district, he's gone. I think some of the other prosecutors from Marcet's team are also gone, and we recently heard that they were replaced by a guy named Joseph Ruddy, who's the prosecutor that's been assigned on the local level to our case, which I suppose means that in the event that it went back to trial for whatever reason, he would be the one prosecuting it. And his claim to fame is having been arrested on a DUI hit and run and, soiling himself in public. And there's dash cam footage of him trying to use the fact that he works for the U.S. Attorney's Office to get out of being charged with anything, which worked. But yeah, Leonard Goodman's response was, wow, I didn't realize you guys broke the U.S. Attorney's Office. But do you have any comments?
I mean, I would like to think that it was our fierce legal defense that made everyone resign and run for the U.S. Attorney's Office, but I think there's a lot going on with the Department of Justice right now. So I think it's really an interesting reflection on what's going on in the government right now more than anything in the administration.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. All right. So last question. So you joined the case. What year was that? Was that 2023?
2023.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's 2026 now. You're still here. Having been through all of this, why does this case remain so important to you today? And in the context, like you say, what's happening now?
Yeah, so this case is very important to me because, well, the huge legal issues that are involved, because I really believe in the cause and, the impact that this could have in the legal system. And I want to be there to fight for that and be a part of that. That's amazing. And, I've really established a great relationship with the Uhuru Three, and you guys mean so much to me that I want to be there for that reason as well.
Thank you so much, Attorney Angela Reaney. And yeah, everybody check out reaneylaw.com, right? That's where people can get in touch with you if they would like to, if they are looking for representation. So anything else you want to say before we close it out?
No, I think we are good. And I look forward to seeing everybody in Atlanta.
Right on.
All right. We'll see you in Atlanta.
Atlanta,
Uhuru.
yeah. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Attorney Reaney and Chair Jesse, for that, segment and just, overview around the importance of this fight back and why we also have the baddest, legal team on the planet. And as we said, was a nightmare for the prosecution, which was evidence in what was shared there. So thank you so much, comrades. And we look forward to seeing you, Attorney Reaney, in Atlanta, forward to victory. So Uhuru, we're going to move on to the reason why most and everybody is here today is to get an update on, a report on the Atlanta events and what's going to be happening on the ground in Atlanta, why you need to be there. If you can't be there, why you need to share and call on others to get there, and to pack the courtroom and to pack the halls, pack the overflow room, pack the courthouse. So we're going to talk a little bit about that on these upcoming slides. Myself and Comrade Vice Chair Chairwoman Penny are going to be going through just some overall information that is important for you to know as we lead up to the Uhuru 3 oral arguments. So as you see here, we're saying all out to Atlanta, pack the court for the Uhuru 3. This is the landmark appeal that will determine the future of free speech, as you just heard, from our attorneys as well. So Chairwoman Penny, I'm gonna just, take this next slide to tell everybody where to go. And then I'm going to turn it to you to kind of go through some of the, events that will be taking place in Atlanta. So we encourage everybody to go to handsoffwahoo.org/take action. Or if you go to our homepage, on the menu, it says take action. You can click that and it will let you know that this is the major update. The Uhuru 3 hearing has been set for July 22nd. That's a Wednesday in Atlanta, Georgia at the U.S. Court of Appeals at 56 Forsyth Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. And we want you to participate in community events that are taking place before and after the Uhuru 3 appeal. So when you see that green button, you're going to click that, and that green button is going to lead you to a form. And on that form, you're going to see more information and details about the upcoming events, but also other information that's going to be helpful for us to know who's coming on the day before, who's going to be there for the Uhuru 3 appeal, and also, other information that's going to be helpful for your logistics and your travel. So I want to just, quickly, I'm not going to name all the names, but I want to salute everybody who has already filled out the form. We have, plenty of comrades who have united with coming with us. Maybe Chairman Penny, we can salute these comrades or, thank them later on in this segment. But we have, quite a few people, and we're going to talk about even just how much space we might expect in the courtroom. And so there's a lot of logistics there, but we want to thank everybody who has signed up already. And so let's go to the next slide, actually. I'm going to turn it over to Comrade Penny, who's going to go through the calendar of events for Atlanta. Uhuru.
Well, I just really want to salute this event, and I want to join in saluting Attorney Angela Reaney and, Leonard Goodman and all of the incredible Addie Griffin, Tom Inskeep, and Mutaki Akbar, who have been just such a joy. I have to say, that's a word to say about a lawyer. I mean, it's just been really great because of just the unity, the enthusiasm, the creativity, just the boldness, the courage of really taking on this case with a lot of just belief in the right to anti-colonial free speech. It's been so important. It's been a deep pleasure working with all of you. And I just wanted to also mention that, as Jesse had, I believe, mentioned in his presentation, that the chairman had always said that this case, the Uhuru 3, is the canary in the coal mine. And it was the opening salvo of a particular kind of attack on voting rights, because the party, that was something mentioned in the indictment, and the and just on the right of African people and oppressed people to express their right to struggle for free speech, for the right to advocate for freedom and liberation. And just to mention that I saw that yesterday an organization, a nonprofit in Ohio, was raided by the FBI. I don't think it was in the violent same way, but their office was taken over, and they were a nonprofit committed to social justice, economic justice, and voting rights. The same thing. And maybe a relative of mine knows some of these people, and I think that we need to get in touch with them and draw them into this growing coalition of forces in Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa, Fight Back, to really be able to take this on. So I just want to say that I'm sorry. Do you want to say?
Yeah, I was uniting with that. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Chairman Wezi. So I just really want to, again, salute my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, and you, Chairman Wezi, and just a great job in this, building this incredible Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Fightback Coalition. So we're going to be in Atlanta on the hearing is the Wednesday, July 22nd, almost exactly 4 years after the raid, which was July 9th, 2022. And I really want to salute in particular law professor Natsu Saito, Ward Churchill, and Comrade Paulette Daltio, who are based in Atlanta, who have just gone ahead and taken charge on these, coordinating and consolidating these events around the hearing, which is just going to be tremendous. And I also want to salute all of the just supporters and comrades who are like, well, of course, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. This is what I'm hearing from so many people. And we do have a form that we would like to have people fill out so we can have a sense of this. But let me just say what is going to be happening on Tuesday, the evening prior to the hearing. We will be holding an event at this called the JEM studio. It is all of this, by the way, is in walking distance of the courthouse. So that's a good thing as well. This was put together by, I believe, Professor Natsu and her staff and comrades to get this site, Gem Studio, 489 Stevens Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, within walking distance of the courthouse. And then the next morning, the Uhuru 3 appeal, open oral arguments is first on the docket at 9 a.m., which is a good thing. We want to pack the courthouse, and we want to, I believe we will have access to an overflow room. And we know that a lot of people are going to be there for that. It is important for the state to see that the support and unity with the fight of the Uhuru 3 has never wavered. It is as strong as it ever was. And we saw the pictures during the sentencing, the trial. The judge at first thought, oh, the first day people will be there. They won't be there every day. They were there every single day. And it was very powerful. So comrades are still there. So the first night, the night prior, that event is called Defending Free Speech and Dissent Community Event on the Uhuru 3 case. The attorneys will be there. And of course, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Jesse and I will be there. And we have a number of people there. Then pack the court at 9 a.m., first on the docket, or whatever the word is that day, and 9 a.m., and it'll probably be about a half an hour, I think, something like that. And then after that, we will go to Georgia State University College of Law, where Professor Natsu teaches, and it is within a few minutes walk from the courthouse. So there would be like a summary, a debrief, and even comrades from the National Conference of Black Lawyers have offered to cater this. It's going to be, just a really, really, really powerful summation. There will be students, law students as well, who will be part of this debriefing. So it's going to be a powerful event. Hopefully our attorneys will still be there. And, we're going to have a great event. So we want to call on everybody you see this QR code right here, go to, do that, or go to handsoffuhuru.org, and right on the homepage is a green bar that says, I will be at the appeal. And it also gives you, it asks you which of these events, if not all, will you be attending. So we are winning.
Uhuru.
All the comrades, and we'll see you in Atlanta, all out to Atlanta. It's going to be a powerful, powerful event.
Yeah, it's going to be very powerful. And thank you, Chairwoman Penny, for going through that. And if you go to the Take Action page, you'll actually see a version of this flyer that you see there. Let me go back there, listed there. So you'll see that as well as hotel information, which you'll be hearing shortly after this next segment. We're just going to talk a little bit about some of the protocols and things that we want people to be mindful of as we go into the courtroom. Because again, this is a political trial, and but we are in the U.S. court system, and we have to conduct ourselves in a way that shows recognition of our movement, the strength of our movement, and the discipline of our comrades. And so and I see in the chat here, Jackie, we wish you could be there too, but we appreciate your support, comrade. And for those of you who will be there, this is something that's similar to what we put out leading up to the trial. I'm just going to read some of these, very briefly, especially those of you who are preparing to come. This is very mindful information. And some of this might be updated, and we'll put this again on the Hands Off Uhuru Take Action page for you to have access to these courtroom protocols. But inside the courtroom, we want to remind everybody when you are there, no political attire in the courtroom. This includes buttons, logos, slogans, T-shirts, hats, stickers, wristbands, anything, so we just encourage you to wear plain court appropriate clothes. COVID masks are encouraged and also allowed. Again, reminder that courtrooms are formal places. So you will need to, stand when the judge and the jury enter the courtroom. No noises, grunts, no outbursts, will be tolerated by the judge, and you may be asked to leave the court, you know, and if the judge scolds you, it look bad on, you know, not just us, but, you know, our legal team as well. There will be an overflow room, which we'll get more information about that as it comes, you know, up. We understand that this courthouse does have access to that. But again, there's going to be a lot of other, you know, hearings happening at the same time. And as Chairwoman Penny mentioned, our hearing is going to be very brief. And so you are, you know, welcome to, you know, quickly move to these other overflow rooms so that you have space and, you know, opportunity to still watch the proceedings. Obviously, no weapons of any kind, you know, any type of pepper spray, pocket knives in your purse, you know, or keychain, those cannot enter the courthouse. No electronic devices. This includes even like Apple Watches, you know, cell phones, laptops, computers, tablets. None of that can go beyond the security checkpoint. You may have to leave your devices in your vehicle or even at the hotel. You will need valid ID. So this has happened before. Some people have come and did not have ID. It has to be, you know, valid state ID, driver's license, or federal identification, military identification, or a passport. And you will be passing through a metal detector and, you know, having, you know, same thing. If you enter courtrooms in the past, you understand, you know, personal items and things will be scanned. So we just think that that's important for comrades to be mindful of. You know, we will be under, you know, surveillance in these institutions as well. And so, you know, come disciplined, come ready to defend and support the Uhuru 3. And when you sign up at takeaction.com by clicking that green button, you will get alerts. So we do ask if you can provide your phone number, you will get text alerts and other information. We can go back to the other slide just so comrades can just be reminded of, you know, these dates and such. But you will be getting text messages and other updates as well. So, you know, from the campaign as we are there on the ground in Atlanta. So, Chairwoman Penny, is there anything else we wanted to add before we go over to talk about the hotel?
Well, I just wanted to say that during the trial and the sentencing and all of our previous court appearances, all of the supporters have always been just really excellent and taken a very attentive but correct stand of in court. So just really want to appreciate all of the comrades who have come out and support us across the political spectrum.
Yeah,
it's been, you know, it's been very powerful, and I fully expect this to be the same.
Uhuru. Yes, I unite. That has been really important, you know, political stance. And actually, one other thing I wanted to say, we will be continuing to, you'll be hearing more from the campaign between, you know, this month leading up to the appeal. We've done some interviews. The chairman was, you know, on some radio, you know, he's been out there putting out information. So if you have, you know, that you want to bring on the Uhuru 3, if you're on the ground in Atlanta or other, you know, other places, and you want to have the comrades come on and talk about, you know, this, you know, packing the court for the appeal, you know, you can reach out to the campaign by going to by emailing us at info@handsoffuhuru.org. I just wanted to also make that statement because we're in the process of doing that already. And we're going to put this out there far and wide. So yes, and our chat moderator is saying, for those of you who can't come, you can still sign up and click that you want to support remotely. Yes, so that's another way that you can also support. And, you know, we want to salute even comrades who are making donations in their inability to come. And I just want to salute Comrade MQ, who just said they donated $20. So thank you, Comrade MQ, you know, for just the support that comrades are showing from far and wide, those of you who cannot be there. All right, comrades, Uhuru. So we're going to bring up Comrade Akinge, who is a leading member in the African People's Socialist Party and is going to, you know, is our logistics coordinator for this aspect of the fight back, and also it helps build the events for Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa. Comrade Akinge is going to give us an update and information about the accommodations that you can expect when you're in Atlanta. We have some hotel information that we want to provide for everybody. So Uhuru, comrade, great to see you.
You as well, Uhuru, and this is, we're going to Atlanta to win, Uhuru. The hotel accommodations will be at the Hampton Inn and Suites by Hilton, Atlanta downtown. Hampton Inn and Suites, in short. And it's located at 161 Ted Turner Drive Northwest. We have acquired a block. We have a special rate. So our rate for the 20th through the 23rd, depending on when you're coming in, will be $119 a night plus tax. And if you are within driving distance, it will be $30 a night to park on site. We do ask that you book by June 25th in order to be able to get the special $119 a night room rate. And this is for a double room, which sleeps 4. In other words, it's 2 double beds or queen size beds in a room, which will sleep 4. And I would suggest people, since a lot of people will be coming from various distances, that you look into sharing. I don't know if we have that on the website or not. If people are willing to share rooms. And then there are also singles, which of course is 1 bed, sleeps 2 people for $119 a night. We will be putting the link up for you to be able to reserve your rooms. And just in doing so, I noticed I will be contacting our hotel representatives so that you'll be able to actually select which nights you're going to be there. Right now, they've got a whole block, and you click on it, it reserves for the entire 3 days, and you may not be staying for that amount. If you have any questions, you have any problems, you click on there and they say there's no rooms available, please contact either myself at COSEKENGE@gmail.com or Hands Off Uhuru, Comrade Mwezi or Comrade Penny immediately, so that we can contact the hotel and get additional rooms added to our block. Again, that's the Hampton Inn and Suites, located at 161 Ted Turner Drive Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia. You need to book by June 25th. And this is a 6-minute walk from the courthouse. Uhuru. Thank you.
Uhuru,
On
Comrade.
Atlanta.
Yes, forward to Atlanta. Thank you so much, Comrade Akinge, for that information. And the email for you has been put in the chat, and that's cosakinge@gmail.com. But you can also email the campaign directly, and we'll make sure the comrade gets your inquiry right away. So wonderful. So comrades, we are moving on. I just want to take a moment to just salute where people are tuning in from before I bring up our keynote speaker for today. And just give me one quick moment. I want to give some shout outs to where our comrades are tuning in from. And that is right here. So on Zoom, I want to salute those of comrades in Westminster, California, Portland, Massachusetts. Is that correct? I could be wrong. Ecuador, yes, Comrade Ann, Ohio, St. Petersburg, Florida, New Kensington, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Punta Gorda, Florida, Largo, Portland, Maine. Thank you so much, Jackie. Welcome. Yes, Maine, Largo, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, comrades in Toronto, Portland, Maine. I see here again, land of Wabanaki, the land of the first Dawn, Uhuru. Comrades in Grandview, Missouri, Chicago, and St. Louis. And those of you who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube as well, you can let us know where you're tuning in from. So thank you, comrades. Salute to you so much. I want to go ahead and turn it over. Well, take a moment to introduce our guest speaker and our keynote speaker. I want to introduce Chairman Omali Yeshitela. The chairman is, as was stated already, the leader of the African People's Socialist Party, founder of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement. Chairman Omali Yeshitela is the theoretician and founder of African internationalism, which is the theory that sums up the world for African people in it, recognizing that capitalism was born parasitic and came as a result of the assault on Africa and African people, and that has locked the entire world into this global and political this global economic and political configuration. And through the chairman's leadership, we can, have these spaces where we can open up the democratic space, to talk and to forward the anti-colonial free speech struggle. But as the chairman says, in his lifetime, we will be free, and Africa and all African people and all colonized peoples of the world will see liberation in our lifetime. So I want to salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who is on the ground in St. Louis, Missouri, the main target of the Uhuru 3 and the leader of this global anti-colonial struggle, and many of the struggles that we hear today. Last thing I'll say is the reason why you hear colonialism and the reason why we are forced to talk about colonialism, the reason why we have seen reparations a household word is because of our chairman, Omali Yeshitela. So I want to salute you, Chairman, and just give you an opportunity to speak to why we say the future of free speech when we talk about the Uhuru 3 case. And as we have the long view, the to what end, where are we headed? Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you very much, Chairwoman Mwezi. I wanted to say I'm sorry that Comrade Angela just had to leave, so she has left the building. It was very good to see her and for her to be here. And this is an instance where I think it was really clear of the benefit of resistance because I'm talking about in terms of relationships as well. Because we never treated this as simply some kind of legal issue. We never did. That is from the Uhuru movement. We always recognized that it was a case of them using law to carry out the political objective that's always been there of crushing the African liberation movement. And because it was based on resistance more than it was on law, our discussions and our relationships, our understandings went beyond simply legal questions, though the legal questions were obviously there. And so, their subjective relationship did develop. I think we came very close to the lawyers. It was a deep relationship, continues to be. So I just wanted to say that. Also, I wanted to acknowledge Comrade Deputy Chair Onozune Yeshitela. I'm doing this in part because we show a lot of footage during and subsequent to the trial, immediately following the trial. And I think that in many instances, she was not obviously there, but she was there. She was incredibly present. Quite much of what is not known is that I was struggling with several kinds of issues, health, et cetera, during the process. And she was there. She was there with that. She was there as a political comrade, et cetera. I think this question of free speech, this question that we are going to Atlanta to deal with, the rights of free speech, the appeal around this attack on free speech is a critical kind of question. The fact is that it's important for Americans. Americans and people who fled Europe came to these shores right now running from tyranny in Europe and England and various other places. And somebody has commented that they fought to be free to oppress others. But the fact is the Americans achieved this thing of free speech because they did not want to live under the conditions that they had to live under when they were dominated by kings and things like that in England and in Europe. But the free speech, the Bill of Rights that they fought for and they pursued and adopted for the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, they were not, these Bill of Rights, these rights were never for African people. Certainly they weren't for the indigenous people who even as we have this discussion today, living in concentration camps, euphemistically referred to as Indian reservation, or they're living in barrios throughout this country after half of Mexico was stolen, and they were not for us. And the fact is that there's never been a time where African people in this country have not had to fight to speak. I mean, you can Google and see some of the images of African people. They put iron masks over our face. They would kill us. They would pour Emmett Till. They murdered because they said he whistled. We have paid horrible prices just to be able to speak. This is a history that obviously makes this notion that somehow we had to be taught by or hired by Russians to speak for our rights, to stand up for our rights. The Russians have no idea of the kind of oppression that African people have had to endure in this country. But a point that I would make is this, is that so if the fact is that we never had free speech, we never had the Bill of Rights, the freedom of speech, freedom, not even freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, etc. It never was for us. So the thing is that every fight that we've had for free speech has been a fight for the Bill of Rights, has been a fight for Americans, for white people, for colonizers. And the thing is, one of the reasons we can say that this was the canary in the coal mine is because usually it is an assault, when assault on rights is made against the people who are least popular in the society. So if they want to attack the rights of colonizer people themselves, of white people themselves, they attack Africans. They attack this basic and fundamental question of speech and assembly, etc. They attack the indigenous peoples, basic rights of freedom of assembly, etc. And this becomes the means by which they initiate attack on democracy, democratic rights that supposedly prevails for white people, for the colonizers. They come at the white people through us. And this is something that anyone who is a student of history of this country should be able to recognize. If they use this question of free speech for us, when we never had free speech, when we never had the right of freedom of assembly and association, etc., you're the ones who had these rights. And so when they attack these rights, they're coming for you. And this is the thing that we've tried to convince people of. That's one thing. Secondly, we think it's extremely important, though, to make this struggle around free speech. And we were determined to do that because we were not trying to convince the courts, even the jury, that they should necessarily support the struggle for liberation of African people, etc. We said that what we want you to support is what you say you believe in. These questions of Bill of Rights are supposedly foundational in terms of what the American character is all about. This is what America is supposed to be about. And if that's the case, then what we are demanding is not that you support my belief in liberation or recognition that we are colonial subjects, but what we are saying is you say you believe in the right to free speech and this constitutional right that is precious to you. This is what we call on you to do. This is what we call on the courts to do. We're not asking the court to unite with our belief in the liberation of African people, in the liberation of the indigenous people, etc. We are demanding that the court unite with what it says it believes in, what it says the Constitution believes in, etc. That's the basic thing. Beyond that, we say that this question of free speech, of the Bill of Rights, is a critical question also, because this is democratic space that we refuse to easily surrender. I'm not going to go into the courtroom. We had some discussion about how we should be in the courtroom. And some of that sounded from my participation in the 60s. If somebody had told me that, I would have responded quite differently than now. I mean, we have wrecked courtrooms in the past. But the thing is that we want this democratic space. We need this democratic space. We fought for the democratic space so we can get a battle in the courtroom, and we never get an opportunity for these issues to be resolved. And it's important for us to have these issues resolved because everybody wants to be free. And some people want to be free enough to do the most drastic kinds of things to make that freedom come about. That's how liberation movements began. That's how armed struggles and things like that happen in the real world. People demand to be free. And given an opportunity, people would choose not to have to go to extreme lengths to be free. And what has happened to our movement in the past is when democratic spaces have been denied to us, then people have moved prematurely in arenas of struggle that cannot be supported by the mass support that could come about if we had access to these basic freedoms. This is one of the things that's concerning about the whole attack on the 1965 Voting Rights Act. The thing is that this is an extraordinary struggle. This is an extraordinary avenue for free speech to run for office, to put your ideas out before the broader community in the world, which is one of the reasons it was denied to us for so long, because they didn't want people to have access to the ideas of freedom, that we believe in freedom, that this is what we want, freedom, 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 freedom. This has been the cry that's come from African people and oppressed people everywhere. Freedom, that's what we want. And there's no limit to what people will do to get freedom. But if we want that democratic space so that we can talk to people, so that we can use this space of election to help people understand what it is that we're about. Africans should understand. Mexicans should understand. White people who colonize it. This is what the struggle is about. So it makes it more difficult for them to define what it is that we are about in a fashion that serves their need to kill us, to oppress us, and their ability to win majority of the white people to go along with these pogroms that they often thrust upon us. So we want that space. We are fighting for that space. That's why we're here now. And it took them 9 months before they indicted us after they raided our homes and did things like that. Partially, I'm convinced because they wanted us to run. Partially because I'm convinced they wanted us to do something that would give them what appears to be a legal basis for being able to crush us so that the people don't know anything about what it is that we stand for. The reason we won in that courtroom is because we gave people who on that jury access to what it is that we've been about since the 1970s. They saw the Burning Spear newspapers, our newspapers. They saw videos that we did when we were taking people, when we went throughout the country. They saw videos of my discussion when I was in Moscow. And people would say, why are you here? Because we are here to let the world know what's happening to Black people in the United States of America. This is what they saw. And because of this, the United States government was incapable of convincing a jury to convict us of being agents of Russia. They knew we were agents of Black people. And the other thing that we want to make clear is we are agents of free speech. And Black people have fought for free speech when nobody else has. Black people fought for the right to vote. They said that we were somehow engaging in elections to win something for Russia, that somehow Russia was involved in our participation in the election. Black people have had our churches bombed, our leaders murdered, et cetera, just for trying to vote. So this whole notion that somehow Russians somewhere lurking in these dark spaces to do this is ridiculous. And that's why history is so important. And that's why efforts are made on a regular basis, especially right now, to shut down libraries, to shut down access to books and things like that about the history of our struggle, what it is that we're about. And that's why part of our responsibility is to take these issues before masses of people. That's why the Voting Rights Act has some significance for us, or the ability to reach people using the electoral process. And that's also why we are fighting for this space with this appeal that we're going to in Atlanta. So the struggle never was about a legal question. It has always been a question of suppressing our struggle. I just want to say, finally, that the struggle of African people began before and continued beyond the Bill of Rights, and that the struggle of African people in this country has always been unpopular among the white population in this country. It's never been, wow, the black people are trying to get out of slavery or something like that, let's welcome them. It's always been unpopular. It's been met with the worst, most vicious assaults on our people that's imaginable. And I say that literally because people would have trouble even imagining the kinds of things that's happened to African people just trying to be free. And the fact that we needed to have to do something just to be free. So it's always been unpopular. It's the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that I was associated with, a part of the student SNCC. That's the organization that organized throughout the most horrific places in the southern United States. And I say southern United States because we also attacked SNCC in Philadelphia and other places. But we were always fighting for the rights of our people, fighting for freedom, fighting for the rights to vote, fighting for the rights to be treated like others, like white people in this country were treated. So the objective of this attack on us was political isolation, to keep people from hearing us, to keep, when I say people, I don't mean just white people, I mean even Africans. Keep people from hearing what it is that we have to say, keep people from having access to our views, etc., and financial ruin. So they wanted to isolate us politically. They want to destroy our capacity. When I say financial ruin, I'm not talking about money so that nobody has a lot of money here. But the question is that we have been able to build incredible institutions that contribute to anti-colonial economic development by African people. This is what they would crush if they could. And that's part of why this assault was made against us. They don't say anything about the fact that in 2007, they talk about I went to Moscow, and because I was in Moscow and because I opposed the war that the United States had initiated against Ukraine. They don't tell you that the United States has been fighting Russia now for more than 100 years. That the United States was among the colonial powers that in 1918, right after the Russian Revolution, they invaded Russia. They have been fighting Russia since that time with only brief respite at the moments when they felt like they could use Russia to help them in campaigns that they were involved in. They don't mention the fact that in 2007, I spoke before hundreds of people in Spain at the invitation of the Spanish, a NGO related to the Spanish government, to the United Nations, etc. And in that instance, I criticized the United States and what it was doing to oppress peoples in Iraq and other places around the world. They don't mention the fact that I spoke at Oxford, got a standing ovation in Oxford and won the debate there. And I started that off with criticizing what the United States was doing to Venezuela. They don't mention that. All of us, for them, history begins at a very convenient place in 2014 when they say I went to Moscow. But I've been to so many places. I've been to Suriname. I've been all around the world carrying the struggle of African people, breaking out of the isolation that they would impose on us. And I just wanted to say that. And the only reason I'm going through much of this is because those of you who have supported us have been remarkably significant for us. And I don't want anybody to be able to disrupt that support by coming and telling you that, yeah, these guys believe in freedom in liberation of Black people. Yes, we sure do. The whole 2 billion strong African population is forcibly dispersed around the world. We are a population that did not come to America looking for a better way of life. We lost a better way of life as a consequence of being brought here. And we've been fighting for a better way of life since we've been here. And we've been fighting for that better way of life here on the continent of Africa, throughout the Americas, and various other places around the world. I'm saying that. So they say, well, he's not a patriot. No, I'm a patriot to Black people. I'm a patriot to Africa. I'm a patriot to all the oppressed peoples around the world who are fighting to change a social system based on brigandage, a social system based on piracy, a social system based on genocide, etc. We don't want that kind of system anymore. That's what it's about. And so I support Palestine, not because of a paycheck. I support Palestine because they're in the same camp that I'm in, that we're in, being oppressed. I support the people in Ecuador, the people in Peru, the people in Cuba, not because some Cubans or Ecuadorians or somebody else pay us to do this. Our pay is the struggle for the liberation of everybody against colonialism, because nobody can be free. If we can't end the colonial domination of the peoples of the world, neither will we ever know freedom. That's the inspiration that we see our plight. We see in our plight this particular contradiction that we are confronted with. There's a universal contradiction that grips the whole world, and most of the people are trapped into this relationship, a parasitic relationship between parasites and hosts. I want to also appreciate the presence of there are people in this meeting today who've gone through some of the same issues, who fought for freedom, and who've made magnificent sacrifices in the process of fighting for freedom. And they include people like Abdulamat, Jihad Abdulamat. They include people like Jan Laman. They include others who are in this meeting, who are in this discussion right now. The question is liberation, freedom, and that's what motivates us more than anything else. We are determined to be free. And we believe that this freedom can come if we have access to masses of the people. We believe that the people want to see a different kind of world that's free, liberated from this relationship between oppressor and oppressor. And we believe that we are in the process of making that happen. So I just want to thank everybody who's here, and want to say that we are relentless in this struggle for liberation, for freedom, etc. And it doesn't make any difference to us what government, what regime is in power here. We don't make a distinction between a liberal colonizer and a right-wing colonizer. Colonialism is colonialism. And that's the thing that we recognize, and we live under colonial domination. So just want to thank you so much, brothers and sisters and comrades. Adelante siempre. We will win. We are winning. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru, Chairman. Relentless.
Relentless.
We are relentless, comrades. Really want to salute that summation, Chairman, of just the global, situation, what's clear about the way forward, and to remind us in terms of that this is a struggle that must be led by as you sum it up, the struggle of oppressor nations and oppressed nations, and this is the time for the ascendancy of the oppressed and colonized forces of the world to take up our rightful seat in this struggle. And I just appreciate what how you just remind us, Chairman, in terms of how when we unite with these struggles as African people, it's not just the form of solidarity and anything like that. I mean, we recognize everything that is happening as colonialism, and so that's just a really important understanding. And I want to just salute the theory of African internationalism, which has given me clarity on that question. And, once you just can't go back. The only way is forward, forward to liberation. So thank you, Chairman, for that statement. Uhuru. So, all right, comrades. Well, we are, we actually have a couple of questions. We're just going to move into our Q&A. And if there's any questions on the ground in St. Louis, please let me know. But we had one question that came in from Karen, who's watching on YouTube, and we don't have the answer for this yet, but we will get the answer. Karen asks, Uhuru, will the summary and debrief lunch be live streamed? I imagine it will be recorded, most likely. So we'll definitely make sure that if this is going to be live streamed, that you will know about it. So again, signing up will also help us know that if you can or can't attend, at least you'll have information and you'll get updates as well. But if it is going to be live streamed, it will be on the Burning Spear YouTube channel. So you can make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you can get that notification as well. So thank you, Karen, for that question, and we hope to have more information about that soon. And if you're not signed up already, and thank you, Paulette. And Comrade Paulette is helping with some of the logistics on the ground as well. So thank you so much, Comrade. It's great to have you on, Paulette, and some of the other comrades that the chairman mentioned. Also, I see Comrade Sister Belinda Parker Brown, Uhuru, Comrade Chimaranga, Comrade Kara. I won't go into all the names, but I just want to salute Comrade Janice Kant, as well as yeah, I think I mentioned Comrade MQ earlier, but just want to salute the comrade. A lot of comrades on the ground from St. Louis, and Comrade Sheila Hamanaka. Oh, so glad you made it, Sheila. Really want to salute this comrade. Just want to say that when the attacks happened, this comrade Sheila Hamanaka with WBAI and Pacifica Fightback was the first to put this out there on the airwaves. And that was really significant. So we just want to salute you, comrade. Thank you for being on with us and the struggles that you are leading in the fight for free speech as it relates to the media, and the anti-colonial voice that has to be heard during this time. So salute to you, Sheila. Thank you for joining us. So comrades, I was saying something, but I can't remember what it was now. But we're going to move to announcements unless there's any other statements or remarks to be made. I don't see any hands raised either. So let me go to our announcements. Thank you, comrades, for joining us on today. By the way, we just want to encourage you. Oh, I was going to say, if you go to handsoffuhuru.org/subscribe, you can log on, you can get updates on our newsletters. So we send out, HTML, sometimes a couple times, leading up to an event, but you'll always get notices about upcoming events for the Uhuru movement and Hands Off Uhuru. So going to our announcements, and our chat moderators will drop some of this in the chat. We don't have many announcements, but we just want to remind everybody, again, pack the court, save the date for July 22nd, which is the Uhuru 3 appeal, the 21st, the day before, events, and the summation happening on following the appeal. Go to handsoffuhuru.org/take action to sign up. And we want to salute, again, the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe, the official grand opening, which will be on Saturday, August 15th in St. Louis, not just St. Louis, but the north side of St. Louis, in the heart of the African working class community. This is an institution, an economic institution of the African working class that helps forward the political and economic work of the African People's Education and Defense Fund, the Uhuru movement, and the global anti-colonial African economy. And so we just want to salute Uhuru Bakery and Cafe. If you have not ate there before, the food is amazing. We had a chance to taste it back in August or back in April at the plenary, and get there for the opening. So, and it's happening, actually, I want to say on August 15th, but that's 2 days before the birthday of Marcus Garvey, who understood the question of real economic power in the hands of the working class. So there's no mistake about that date. So we want to salute the opening, happening in August, Black August, Uhuru. And we make the call to build the International Anti-Colonial Human Rights Organization. We are going to be organizing for a conference. You've seen us put this out there, a little bit here and there, but you will be hearing from the campaign around the goal to build this front as we take up all the struggles that the chairman mentioned in his, statement, bringing them under one anti-colonial, unified front, comrades, so that we can, like we say, this time till it's won. So look out for more information about that. And we're not, as we say, it's not over. We want to remind people that we are in the process of continuing to build the campaign to repeal FARA. You will see some of this as we talk about the, work happening in the larger sense. But, we invite people to build a committee and, this popular campaign of the demand of repealing the Foreign Agents Registration Act. the general conspiracy statutes and other repressive laws. So if you want to volunteer with the campaign, this is being led by the Legal Defense Support Committee. You can go to handsoffuhuru.org/volunteer and click the Legal Defense Support Committee and sign up with that. And other fronts, of the work that are happening. We want to remind comrades, you can also join or get more information about how you can support the work of the Latin America Front. So again, handsoffuhuru.org/join or volunteer should take you to the same link. But as we say, comrades, this time till it's won. Thank you so much for joining us. And we say all out to Atlanta. We're going to pack the court for the Uhuru 3 landmark appeal that will determine the future of free speech. And as we say, comrades, vanguard up. Relentless. We are winning. Uhuru. Hands off Uhuru.
Hands
off
off
Africa. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Venceremos.
Venceremos.